If you ever find yourself in need of legal advice, the team at Phillips Hunt want you to consider giving them a call. Ernie Dukes, a criminal defense attorney, joins me now. Welcome to First Coast Living.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to be talking about DUI investigations. But before I get into the questions, of course, we want to remind everybody, please do not drink alcohol and drive. It is very dangerous for you and others on the road. But let's say you get pulled over. We want to know our rights, right?
Sure.
So you're asked to take the field sobriety test. Do we have to do it? Should we do it? What are your recommendations?
You don't have to. You didn't give implied consent like you did for a breath test, and we'll get into that, I guess. But I know if you're stopped and they're talking to you and they ask you to get out and do field sobriety exercises, chances are they already know what they're going to do. They have already evaluated you based on maybe some slurred speech, or maybe a smell of alcohol, maybe the way you were driving. Whatever. There's a lot of different factors that they put together. And when they put that together, they're going to make that decision. So if you tell them no, you don't want to perform field sobriety exercises, chances are what they're going to do is they're going to use what they've gathered so far, the information they've gathered so far, as to whether or not they're going to make a determination to arrest you. Now, if you decide you do want to perform field sobriety exercises, you're just giving them evidence that can be used against you in court towards a conviction later.
Okay, so learning our rights, that's good to know. You mentioned that there's a slight difference, though, with the breath test. Touch on that.
Well, so for a breath test, if you were to get out your driver's license and look at the very bottom of it, it states on the bottom in the small print, basically that by operating a motor vehicle on the roads, you are giving consent to a breath test, or to a blood test, to a sobriety exercise, or to a sobriety test. And the sobriety exercises, the field exercises, they don't apply to that.
That's separate.
Right.
Oh, okay. So good to know. So you're saying we should do that then?
What's that?
Provide the breath, or you're saying we don't have a choice in that sense?
The breath test, there's a choice in everything, I guess. But if you say no, if you say I'm not providing a breath sample, it is an automatic 1-year suspension.
Oh, okay.
On your driver's license. Now, there are defenses to that implied consent that can be used, but we can't use those if you don't contact an attorney. So, and if you do decide to blow, you are providing evidence that can be used against you later in a conviction.
Okay, then what would you recommend somebody do if they are arrested for a DUI?
If you're, well, as you stated at the very beginning, don't drink and drive.
Right.
If there's just so many options out there with Lyft and Uber and cell phones, there's just so many options to get home another way. But if you do find yourself in that predicament, number one, contact an attorney. And just remember 4s, 904-444-4444 will get you through to us. But I see a lot of times people will call us Monday after they've already been arrested for the DUI, and when you're arrested, you go before a judge the very next morning to determine if there's probable cause to hold you, and they set a bond. A lot of these guys will go before the judge and go ahead and plead guilty just to get it behind them. Well, at that point, you've waived any defenses you may have.
I see.
So when you call us Monday afterwards, it's hard to go back on that. You can't take that back to Walmart with a receipt, and it's just it's done.
All right, well, I'm glad we at least know our rights now, and I'm sure we'll be learning a little bit more. Hopefully we'll talk to you again sometime, but thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Of course, and if you'd like to see this segment again, just head to our website, and that's firstcoastliving.net.